And now, a tip from the 1965 issue of Good Housekeeping. 120 ways to please a man.
A good wife is part of her community. She's interested in town planning, local government, school conditions, and church activities. In her community, she is a goodwill ambassador for her husband.
Just one of 120 ways to please a man. Now back to the Adam Carolla Show.
Oh, a bygone era. Richard Kind has joined us, TV show Everything's Gonna Be Okay. It's Thursdays, 10 p.m. Eastern on Freeform. Episodes available the next day on Hulu. And season 1 also available on Hulu. Good to see you, Richard Kind.
Thank you very much. And that's the best you got from 1950 about women?
Well, we were what spawned that was Good Housekeeping, the magazine, had an article on a movie that I made called Uppity, and it was best, woke, whatever. It was about an African-American race car driver, blah, blah, blah. But they had the sort of best documentaries for the woke culture. And I thought, what did they talk about in 1965? Because I think they had different subject matters. And lo and behold, we found it.
And interested in civics. And now you have all these women today running for office, senators, certainly congresspeople.
Yeah, and we feel just awful about it.
Yeah.
Exactly. What the hell? Good housekeeping, huh? Yeah, 50 years later.
So we're all big fans. From
Very nice of you. Thanks.
Many, many different projects, as I feel like you've been
Go
working.
ahead, name them.
Well, obviously, most recently, Curb Your Enthusiasm, for sure.
Always Curb. And it's not most recently. That's like, what do you call it? That's been out, I think, for 20 years.
Yeah.
20 years? 10 years? Something like that. It's crazy how long it's been on.
I'm always curious.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say, for the first 9 years, I was only on 4 episodes. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you're now, have a more regular reoccurring role.
I don't. It was just last year, unfortunately, because of Bob's passing.
Yeah, Super
Bob
Dave.
Einstein, Super
yeah.
Dave.
Mm-hmm.
I was called on a little more, and it's sad, but that was the reason why. So I did 3 last year, but before that, it was just. I was only on 4 episodes.
But what a testament to you that it doesn't feel like 4 episodes.
There you go. Yes, I agree. Everybody thought I was the regular.
Right.
I agree.
And your wife
it is.
Your wife probably thought you were nuts the day you came home and you said, "I'm going to poison Super Dave," and she was like, "What? Hear me out."
I said the baseball bat to the knee has already been used.
Yes.
I'm going to poison.
I was at his funeral. Did you attend?
I did not, and I loved the guy. I loved him, and he was one of those guys who thought you were his best friend. That's how great a guy he was. And he was. I was not, because I live in New York, and I would have flown in, but would it have been a testament? It would have been because I wanted to be there because of everybody who was there in the story. So, and I thought that was a little hypocritical because I would have liked to have been there for him. But he doesn't know.
No,
I didn't go.
No,
I didn't go. But but for selfish reasons, I wanted to be there. But I continue to tell stories about him because I loved him so much.
Well, another thing, I figure we're just a few years away. That if somebody ever 3 years from now, if someone said, "Did you go to Super Dave's funeral?" You go, COVID, man. Mm-hmm. And they'll just nod their head and we can keep walking. Because I'm going to take this COVID year and I'm going to spread it out over about 9 years. So anything I didn't do. Yeah.
So many excuses we have in our life. I used to use, I can't do it. I have rehearsal for acting class. That was what I used in my youth. I can't do it. I got class or whatever. Now you're right. We could use COVID.
We were
kids were good. Kids were good for a good 8-9 years.
Oh yeah,
that was good. Oh yeah. Kids are great.
Get you out of
great.
anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The right. And by the way, Yeah, I wonder how many people play the kid card are even actually into the kids. I can't be much, right?
We play the kid card on weekends. We don't have them.
Yeah.
Right.
The kid card is great.
But do you have kids?
Yeah.
Who has kids?
I have
Everyone-
a
You have kids?
step
Yeah.
kid.
Everyone has kids. Are they young still?
Yeah.
I got
We
4
have
years
2
old.
young ones.
14-year-old twins.
I used to have 14-year-old twins and now 16-year-old twins.
Oh, really?
Boy and girl.
I
Yep,
got
and
boy.
a 19-year-old.
I got boy
Yeah,
and girl twins too.
Really? Yeah. And are they alike or are they very, very different?
If I said they're alive.
How much time do you have?
One of them, I will tell you how different they are. One of them's hero is Ben Shapiro and Donald Trump, and the other one is at a Black Lives Rally Matter, Black Lives Matter rally right now. Like that's how
So
they
one of them
are.
loves Daddy, and the other one thinks that Daddy is Grand Dragon of the KKK.
That's
pretty much it,
exactly
yeah.
that's exactly how it works.
And one
I,
of
yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to say, one of them is a fearless daredevil with no concern for health or life, and one of them is very afraid, and it's not the one you think.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Isn't it crazy? Same genetics, same upbringing, everything, so different. It's so different. It's crazy.
It's there from Jump Street. When they were little kids, I would
Right.
that's who they were. I
agree.
This notion of like, well, did one of them play too many video games or listen to too much hard rock?
Yes.
Like, not when there were two.
It's unbelievable. They were born the way they were born. Yeah. It's how they were cut out that way. I agree with you. It's astounding. Although they have exponentially grown more towards who they are.
How do your twins do with one another?
I have 3 kids, and it is like summer camp every day. They rely on each other. They love each other. They know the buttons to push. And there were some times where I will downright complain about, I can't believe so-and-so did it, or like that. They will defend their brother or sister in ways that I'm so proud. I mean, they rely on each other. They defend them. They're wonderful to each other.
Wow.
It's
What's that like?
A lot of it is all a tribute to their mother, not to me. I'm a good dad, very good dad, loving dad. Their mother is astounding.
So I was reading the bio here and surprised to know just how close you were with George Clooney, or are with George Clooney, including him being a best man at your wedding, speaking of your wife, in 1999. How did that whole thing come about?
I'll talk about it, but not in depth. But I will talk. I mean, I'll tell you, because I always say he gets enough publicity on his own, and I'm always scared that I'm going to say just anything wrong. And then, if you say something wrong about somebody, blah, 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 blah. If you say something wrong about George, well, everybody's going to glom onto it.
That's fair.
It's very superficial. Believe it or not, we played brothers in a pilot ages and ages ago, and he was called in to replace somebody. And so we had a bond by having a shortened amount of time to rehearse. So we would see each other at night, and we would dine, and we were simpatico. We got a little. Our politics are the same. Our love of movies is the same. The ethics of our parents were the same and have been passed down to both of us. And we got along. We were young, liked women, and liked going out for a drink. It was great. So, so we really became. And he's got a lot of friends. I shouldn't say a lot. We have a group of friends that are similar in our politics and in what we like and what we like to do, things like that. And we are lucky that we have remained friends. And this is one thing I will tell you. He's a great guy. Great guy. Gave us all $1 million. You know all about that. Everybody knows it. But I will say this. He is as lucky to have us as friends, all of these guys, as we are lucky to have him, and we are all as lucky to have each other, because we keep each other in line, sort of like a fraternity. And we are able to make jokes that you can't make jokes anymore, like you do in a locker room amongst each other. You're allowed to call people on their shit with, when they get out of line. So it's nice. And you being the guy that you are, and I don't know about you other two, but Adam, my guess is you have a real guy's sensibility.
Yes.
And a sort of like, I call it the deliverance ethos. Let's go, let's get together and go out. Not the banjo, the guys going out and saying, let's go see The Wilderness.
It's a great movie.
So four guys going out and seeing the movie, seeing The Wilderness and what their ethics were like and what they wanted to do to bond. That's what we're sort of like. And I have a feeling, Adam, you're like that too.
I love, it's kind of interesting. My parents were kind of standoffish. They were little, I was kind of latchkey, and I didn't have a strong involvement with my family, so I relied immediately on friends. I was always hanging out, sleeping over, eating dinner. Everything I did, if I went water skiing once, that was with someone else's family. I went snow skiing once. That was with someone else's family. I went dirt bike riding once. That was with someone else's family. Like whenever I would do something, I'd do it with someone else's family. So I kind of learned early that friends were super important. And I always feel sorry for people. Sometimes you'll talk to a woman and she'll go, I don't really have friends, or she'll go, I have a couple of guy friends, but I don't really like women. I'll go, what kind of life is this?
Right. Yeah. I don't trust anybody who doesn't have anybody close, like three people close that they've known for 20, 25 years. I don't trust them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
By the way, I'm also talking to two people there who I don't know. I know you, Adam. That's Serena.
I'm Gina, and it's so funny because we know you so well. That's Bryan. I'm Gina. We're thrilled to have you
How would I know you guys?
You wouldn't.
There's no reason.
I wouldn't.
I should have introduced you.
To you. This is horrible.
Well, now that we're meeting, Richard, I'm a big fan of yours from a long time. And one of the joys, speaking of kids, I have a 4-year-old daughter. One of the joys of having a 4-year-old daughter is introducing her to the movies that I love and loved as a kid and even loved as an adult. Like I loved Moana before she was ever born. Now she loves Moana and she loves Inside Out. And it's so helpful for like teaching her about emotions and teaching. And we're teaching her like, are you feeling anger right now? Are you feeling sadness? It's very helpful. And you obviously were a huge part of that movie, even though you actually weren't in it that long. And I know that when you guys record your voiceover, oftentimes it's before the animation or it's before whatever. When did you see the final movie? When did you see the final movie? And that's such an emotional part of the movie. What was your reaction to it?
There is an evolution in answering to your question.
Please.
The thing is that you don't at first get the whole script.
That's a good point.
Just get your scenes. And they say this takes place in a girl's brain and you have orbs and things like that. What are you talking about? You can't comprehend it. You just don't comprehend what their story is. You take them at their word. Am I allowed to curse on the show?
Go ahead.
I didn't know what the fuck they were talking about. It was the most confounding thing to say, well, you're her imaginary friend and it's in her brain. It makes sense now that we've seen it. So I did about 3, 4, 5 recording sessions, which they tape, and they sort of use the essence of my mouth or my face in order to animate and how I would do it. When I really got a sense of it, and there's a couple of stories here, was when I took the family on a trip from Los Angeles up to Monterey. And going up there, we stopped in at the Pixar campus.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I go in, we get the tour and everything. Pete shows me with the editor and the other writer some of the scenes that I did. And I now get the sense at the beginning of how it's explained, what Ellie's life is and what the orbs are. And the first 3 minutes sets out what this world is that they're going to be showing you. That's when it clicked. My family saw that too. So we finished. It's great. Oh my gosh, look at the scenes we did, everything like that. Then we're walking down the hall. And this is a spoiler for those of you who haven't seen Inside Out, but it's your own fault. We're walking down the hall, and somebody says, "Do you want to see the rough cut of when you're in the pit when you send her off?" You know, I know the one.
The lost memories.
Yeah,
devastated. I saw it years before my daughter was born, and I was devastated as a
tread
adult man.
lightly.
When I was a kid, and Adam, I don't know whether you'll remember this, but were you old enough to see Bryan's song when it came on TV?
I remember very distinctly where I was. I was sitting next to my dad in our shack in North Hollywood, and they ran it on TV. I didn't see it in the theater. I saw it on TV. It was a weird thing.
It was never in the theater.
Oh, it was never in the theater. It was a film.
Never.
It was a TV movie. And when the music swelled up at the end, I started to bawl, but I was embarrassed because I didn't want to cry in front of my dad. Not that he gave a shit, but I just felt weird being 9 and bawling as a young boy, trying to think I was a man.
Right. Well, I was in high school, and everybody came to school. It was on Tuesday night at the movies, and it was a movie of the week on ABC. Everybody came to school, and this is literally what everybody said. "Dude, I cried. Oh my God, I cried last night. Oh my God." Everybody said that. Football players, everybody said it. They were like you. I now get people coming up to me saying, "I saw Inside Out. Dude, I cried. I cried. Yeah. Oh man, you made," which you said, Brian, you cried even
100%
before you had a daughter.
Yep.
So I had not seen it. Okay, I've got 2 stories concerning this. So somebody calls us in, says, "We're going to show you the scene with the orbs," and I see it, and it's a rough cut. Well, yes, I'm crying, but I look over at my oldest daughter, who's sobbing, and she just turns to her mother and runs into her arms.
Oh.
Wow,
sobbing. Okay, at that moment, so I saw it before anybody did, and I often wondered, was she crying at Bing Bong dying? Or did her dad die?
Oh,
That's
God.
what I was wondering. I think it was Bing Bong. When I recorded that scene, okay, this is something about acting.
Please.
You will never be perfect with acting. Like Daniel Day-Lewis was fantastic as Abraham Lincoln. But when the shooting stops, he's Daniel Day-Lewis, and he was never Lincoln. He comes close to what Lincoln might have been like, but he's Daniel Day-Lewis. He simply is not Abraham Lincoln. As good as he is not Abraham Lincoln, but you get close.
Okay.
And if you're really good, you get close enough to just feel it. Well, I felt the emotion when I was saying "to the moon," take her to the moon. It was the most pure emotion. I loved it. And I kept asking for a retake. None of the takes were any different than what came before it. It was because there was a purity to my feeling that I enjoyed. I was in the moment, and I loved it. And I kept asking for another. And they're going, we got it. I go, no, just give me one more. And I realized I wasn't doing it for the movie. It's because I loved that scene so much. And I was crying. And I wasn't crying. In fact, I made it a point not to cry because the audience has to cry.
Yeah.
I had to be pure and give of myself and sacrifice. You don't get that chance every day. You don't get to sacrifice yourself. So it was the most wonderful feeling. And I kept asking to do it again and again. Finally, we stopped. So I knew that scene before it was ever finished, and I knew how strong it was.
That's a great character insight.
Very long answer?
No, it's a great character insight because Bing Bong isn't sad. He's sacrificing himself. He's happy.
Because he loves her.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. Oh, my God, yes. I sacrificed for you. Gee, I died for your sins. You know,
it reminded me of the first time I saw it and I have a lot of problems with this book because I think it's torture porn. But it reminded me a lot of The Giving Tree. You know, there was nothing left to give, so I can give the rest of me and she can go on.
Yes.
Hey.
Yes. Well, that's probably what it is. I've never thought of that, but yes, you're right. That's exactly what it is. And we now know that Pixar plagiarized. So.
Brian, good question.
So,
So back to me. So did Clooney have the pig when you met him?
Wait, I'm sorry. Introduce yourself. Who are you? Yes, go ahead.
Wow, that was a wonderful story. And yes, I have toured the Pixar campus, and it is a wonderful, wonderful place. You can't imagine working there. Did you go to all the different writers' rooms and see how they had the themes picked out and everything?
Oh, yeah. I was lucky. I saw it like a year and a half before I took my family there, so I had seen it. Yes, and it's magical. The place is magical. Yeah. They're the right kind of company. They cultivate good work and good spirit. They want you to do your best, and they say, "Here's some money. Design a place where you can work at your maximum best."
Is there
That's a wonderful thing?
Is there another company? Let's just say American company. Any across the spectrum that produces as consistently high quality a product? Maybe you could say like Apple, but even Apple has a couple of bummers here and there.
They stumble.
I can.
Well, go ahead.
I contend. I've always said this. I'm not just paying you lip service. I think the Pixar animated scripts are better than most live action movies. The way they'll do it, and like Finding Nemo or something like that, the suspense they build up, the pathos, but also they bring it home. Like there's the twist, Toy Story and stuff like that. I mean, these are crazy, wonderful adventures. Like the writing is spectacular in those scripts.
And to piggyback,
Well, I was going to say, when John Lasseter, and I think it was Andrew Stanton, could have been Pete Docter, wrote Cars, they drove Route 66 cross country.
Yeah.
To and figuring out the story. That's what they did. They drove that. So, and they take a year and a half with a script before they ever start animating. They work and they work. Inside Out, they spoke to therapists at universities about it. I mean, but the thing is, what's sort of interesting, now that I know Pete Docter, I hope I'm not talking out of school, but they are, I don't want to say first and foremost, but they are alongside their creative genius, a business. And they have people that they have to pay, and they have people that they have to keep on the payroll. And sometimes stocks fluctuate. Sometimes income fluctuates. Certainly with the pandemic. Did Soul make as much money as they needed it to? So they have worries. And when I hear that, I'm taken aback. I think of Pixar just being printing money, being great. They're human. And it's tough for me to think of them as human. Does that make sense?
Yeah. It's like, you think of Disneyland. It's the same thing. And I was just going to say when you talk about the scripts, Adam, specifically Inside Out, not just a great story, but can you imagine the pitch meeting? Them saying, okay, this is essentially a movie for kids, and we're going to explain everything about recovered memory, about every feeling you could have in your body and in your brain. You're insane. There's no way a child can grasp this, and yet here we are, and it's literally a teaching tool.
It is. And I'm going to say something, Bryan, right?
That's me.
Wait till your daughter turns Ellie's age at 11, and then wait till your daughter turns 19 and can appreciate what she felt at 11.
Well,
and each generation, 23, 26, how she will do that. Then when she has her own child. So that is truly a movie for the ages. And for different ages.
I'm glad you said that, because I was just thinking what separates Pixar from other. I see a lot of movies. I see every animated movie that's up for the Oscar every year. There's a lot of good animated movies out there. They're good, or they're even very good. What separates Pixar from the rest of them is that every once in a while, and more often than not, their movies get elevated, but beyond just a great adventure or a great story or whatever. You get your Inside Out, you get your WALL-E, your Toy Story 3. They're like, oh, now it's like a coming of age story, or it's a story about growth or realizing something. And it's not just a great adventure. So Inside Out is definitely one of those movies.
And that is what great art or great craftsmanship is all about. is I'm presenting you something that is something other than what you're just looking at.
Yeah.
It can be interpreted. That's why I think the Coen brothers are so good.
Yeah.
They present something that's entertaining, and yet still, as you say, it rises above what it is. And I'm lucky every once in a while to do that kind of thing. And then every once in a while, I'm, serving scrambled eggs on toast.
There's a place for that.
But it is.
Did you go to Lasseter's office when you were there?
I did. And the not Maya Kama, who's the great animator? And it was above his desk.
I don't remember.
No.
But I remember.
No,
I remember his office was filled with trains, and and he wasn't there when I went there. But here's a measuring stick, Miyazaki. Is that how you say it?
Well, wait, say you don't know. That's who I'm saying.
No, it's on
Miyazaki or whatever.
You printed it. It's on a screen in front of me. I could have never pulled that out.
Right.
Here's an interesting yardstick to measure whether the head guy's nice or not. Is Lasseter wasn't there when we went to go to his office, but his secretary was like, "Well, go on in and check out the trains. And if your boss is an asshole, there's nobody going, go on in." Because when he comes back and he's missing a caboose, she's going to get fired, right?
It's funny. All at Disney or Pixar, Walt Disney loved trains. John Lasseter loved trains. I don't know whether he loved them because of Walt Disney and he worshipped them, or did he love them? And Pete Docter, who's now running Pixar, loves trains as well.
Yeah,
isn't that crazy?
And most serial killers as well. So there's a lot of diversity.
Yeah, so there you go. Well, they say that crying is just the same thing as laughing.
Yeah, yes. Extreme hot and extreme cold feel the same to the touch. I agree.
Yes.
I love Pixar, but I do want to talk a little Curb as well. It's been a couple of years since last season, right? I think it's been a couple.
No,
hasn't it?
Because it was. He had that great joke about the MAGA hats,
right?
So that had to be around the time of Trump.
Oh,
and
yeah.
He's finishing it up now, but you kind of understand it's a tough. Well, this is in my head because writing the script has got to be so difficult because he doesn't write dialogue. He has to think of these plot points.
Right.
And and it's a decent sized scenario. It's like 13 to 16 pages that have to be improvised. So he's got it all figured out to the detail of what we're going to see, just not what we're going to hear. Does that make sense?
Right.
The 100th episode.
Then you shoot it. What?
The last episode was the 100th episode. It aired March 22nd of 2020, so right around the same time as lockdown.
Right.
Okay, that's not so long ago. That's a year.
I just
so
miss
they're filming
it.
Now.
Well, the COVID lasted 5 years.
Yeah, right. Yeah, the joke is, what's today's date? March 365.
Right.
Anyway, shooting it is a blast because you're surrounded by all your friends, by people who have to be at their funniest at that time, both the writers, the actors, certainly. So it's great fun. Well, then you got all of this footage and you got to put it together, for 27 minutes when you have, 4 hours, 5 hours of things to choose from. That's really difficult and it takes a long time. And then so he has to do that. So when will it be out again? I don't know, but a year and a half ain't so bad.
No.
For all of that.
I don't. I'm trying to think where you can binge watch it because I want
to. HBO series.
You just go.
HBO.
I know. You just go to the app or
HBO
something.
Max, yeah.
Okay.
No, you go to Sunny, and Sunny will put it on.
Yeah, I'll have my son sign me up because I don't have to ask him what my passwords
No,
are.
it's HBO. You always could do that. You can just do it, or
just stream it.
I doubt it's on Amazon. I doubt you can pay for it on Amazon. That's like I did a great show. I don't know whether you saw it, called Red Oaks. It was a wonderful show. It's on Amazon. Okay, it was Amazon did it. They knew they had a great show. It got short shrift because Amazon can sell underwear, but they can't sell TV shows.
Right.
But it was but they make great TV shows. This being one of them, and they knew it was great, and they gave us 3 seasons. But I would say it's an Amazon show, and they go, "Oh, can we see it on Netflix?"
Right.
Someone goes, "No, it's an Amazon show." So you go to HBO, and you'll see all of the. Although they were sold, do you remember that TV Guide channel?
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
This just scrolled endlessly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they would have Curb. I don't know whether they still do, but of course you go on HBO Max or HBO whatever.
It's right there.
You can get it.
All right.
Yeah,
I'll get my son to sign me up or figure it out.
Okay.
Everything's going to be okay. Can we talk about that for a second?
Sure. Yes.
Tell us about it.
I wish I could talk about it in a lot of detail but I've been told that there are certain things you can't talk about. The second thing is it was such a weird and quirky show that there's nothing linear that I can say about it. And although I'm in a lot of episodes, I'm not throughout the episode. So it's about kids on the spectrum or homosexuality and just different, unusual, quirky characters in a situation that is at the get-go very unusual. And I'd love to just present it in that one-line high concept, and you can't. But I can tell you it's heartwarming, it's unusual, it's a pleasant and nice show to watch in a time when everything is so hard-hitting. It's much like Red Oaks. It sounds like it's unexciting, but it's quirky. It's just things happen to people that you don't normally see, unusual things. And I think that it was a show I was very proud to be on.
Well,
I think it represented different types of people, and it was unusual.
Yeah, I just want to tell people where they can find it when it's Thursdays, 10 p.m.
I don't even know. Where can they find it?
Well, it's 10 p.m. Eastern. The episodes are available next day on Hulu. I got to see if my Netflix has Hulu.
Oh, yeah, it's Freeform, right. Yeah.
I can guarantee your Netflix is not on Hulu.
But it's such a lovely show. And this guy is from Australia, Josh, who created the show and writes it and is in it. And, he lets the director direct, but he has a clear vision. And the guy's like 24, 26 years old, just a lovely, good guy. He was a stand-up. He wrote a show in Australia that got a lot of play, and then he did this. It's very, very, very good.
Well, again, it's called Everything's Gonna Be Okay on Hulu, so go look that up. Richard, thanks for joining us. This was very interesting for me.
My pleasure. You guys are great. I listen to you when I'm in LA because I don't listen to podcasts in New York. I listen to podcasts when I'm driving. So
it's interesting. Well, next time you're in LA, come see us in person.
Oh, when there is a time, I would love it. I'd love to, because I've never met you, and I know where you live because I have a friend who lives right near you. And in fact, I'm near your house right now. Because I just finished playing 9 holes, and when we're finished with this, I'm going to go finish up. So I happen to be somewhat near you, but I would love to see you all and meet you guys, Gina and Bryan.
We'd love it.
Please.
It'd be a pleasure.
Richard Kind, everyone. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you, guys.
What a mensch.
What a mensch.